Enough of denial. Your freedom is right there after fear. The vice of emptying yourself. How many times have you swallowed your feelings just to keep the peace? Have you noticed how we learn to live by trying to please, avoiding confrontation, and molding ourselves to what's expected of us? This is the most silent form of self-destruction, nullifying yourself to fit into spaces that weren't even made for you. When you remain silent out of fear, adapt out of insecurity, or accept out of need, you're not living, you're surviving. And no one came into this world to live in silence. Little by little, the world molds you with invisible rules. Don't speak too loudly, don't disturb, don't cause discomfort. And so you squeeze, fold, and diminish yourself. But every time you say yes, meaning no, something inside you dies a little. And the worst part, over time, you no longer even realize you're betraying yourself. It becomes a habit, a pattern, a system of self-abandonment disguised as politeness, empathy, and kindness. But the truth is different. You weren't born to hide. Your silence hurts because it holds all the words you didn't have the courage to say. Your pain isn't just because of the people who ignore you, it's because you've learned to ignore yourself. It's time to break this pattern, because when you constantly try to avoid the discomfort of others, you're the one who ends up uncomfortable, and this silent discomfort turns into anguish. Enough. Enough of erasing yourself to be accepted. Enough of shrinking to avoid causing discomfort. From now on, the priority is you, not to hurt anyone, but to rescue yourself from a life in which you've always come last. Your voice matters. Your desire matters. Your existence doesn't need approval to be legitimate. You're not a draft waiting to be validated. You're already the final version. Do you want the first great truth? Here it is. If you keep nullifying yourself, the world will keep forgetting you, because no one remembers those who don't take up space. And you weren't born to fit into other people's limits. You were born to expand your own. Your freedom is right there, after you decide to stop betraying yourself. And that is the beginning of your new life.
The invisible weight of fear. Have you ever felt a knot in your chest without understanding why? A desire to change everything, but an absurd fear of taking the first step? That's it. Fear is an invisible chain. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And its whispers are treacherous. You won't be able to do it. You'll regret it. Everyone will judge you. And without realizing it, you begin to obey that voice as if it were true. Fear is a master at disguising itself as prudence. It dresses up in elegant clothes, caution, responsibility, common sense. But deep down, it's the old saboteur that keeps you in the same place. The truth is, most people don't fail by trying. They fail by not even starting. Because fear convinces you that failure is worse than frustration. But it isn't. What hurts most is the regret of not having tried. And do you know what the worst kind of fear is? The one you've learned to call normal. Fear of speaking your mind. Fear of saying no. Fear of being rejected. Fear of losing control. All of this becomes routine, becomes life. And one day, you look in the mirror and no longer recognize who's there. Not because you've changed, but because you lost yourself trying to be who others expected you to be. But there's a secret no one has told you. Fear isn't the end. It's the door. It's the boundary between who you are today and who you can be. Everything you desire is on the other side. Your choices, your freedom, your truth, they all await you beyond this stuck point. And the key that opens this door is called decision. You don't have to be ready, you just have to be willing. Fear dies in action. It's that simple. When you move, even with trembling legs, fear weakens. When you say yes to yourself for the first time, it loses its grip. And the more you act despite it, the freer you become. It's not about not feeling fear, it's about not letting it paralyze you. Your freedom is right there, after your next decision. When you choose yourself, the world changes. Something magical happens when you start putting yourself first. People change, opportunities change, life changes. Not because the world has gotten easier, but because you've become clearer. You stand firm, respond with more truth, and suddenly all the noise begins to dissipate. Your frequency shifts, and the world responds. But before that comes the guilt of saying no, of canceling commitments, of disappointing expectations you never should have accepted. This guilt isn't yours. It's the programming you were taught. Since childhood, you've been told that love is giving, that it's ugly to think of yourself, that the other person always comes first. And then, every time you try to prioritize yourself, you feel bad. But you weren't born to carry everyone on your shoulders. You were born to live lightly, not with constant sacrifice. Giving yourself is beautiful, but only when it doesn't require your own self-denial. Because if maintaining a relationship requires you to erase yourself, that's not love. It's self-abandonment. And no bond is worth your emotional freedom. The peace you seek begins when you stop putting yourself last. And here's a detail that changes everything. No one values you more than you value yourself. When you choose yourself, you teach others how to treat you. You become a role model. And those who don't know how to handle this will walk away. Not out of malice, but because you've stopped shaping yourself. And yes, it hurts at first, but then you realize those who stay truly stay. Your life begins to change when you understand that being your priority isn't selfish. It's emotional responsibility. You're not here to please others. You're here to live in alignment with your truth. When you choose yourself, you heal. When you take a stand, you strengthen yourself. And when that happens, you never go back to the version of yourself that nullified yourself to fit in.
When you say no, you free yourself. Saying no seems simple, but for those who have lived with self-denial, it's like crossing an invisible wall. How many times have you accepted things you didn't want? Invitations you couldn't accept, requests that hurt you, just to avoid appearing selfish, just to be loved, accepted, included. But every forced yes was a no screamed from within, and this silent accumulation turns into emotional exhaustion. You're not tired of life, you're tired of never being heard, not even by yourself. Every time you accept what you don't want, you reinforce an idea. My discomfort is worth less than the comfort of others. And this makes you sick. Your body feels it, your mind takes its toll, your soul screams, because you're living as an extra in your own plot, while others play the lead role. But something changes when you learn to say no. At first, fear sets in. Will they turn away? Will they criticize? Will they reject me? Maybe. But anyone who abandons you because you took a stand was never there for you. They were there because of your silence. And you can no longer trade your peace for a place in the life of someone who doesn't respect you. Saying no isn't an act of rebellion, it's an act of self-respect. With every conscious no you say, you build boundaries. And boundaries don't push people away, they push away abuse. Boundaries aren't barriers to love,
They're filters that allow true love to remain. Mature people understand boundaries. Healthy people respect your space. People who truly love you don't ask you to deny yourself. They help you flourish. Your freedom begins when you understand that you no longer need to justify protecting yourself, that you no longer need to explain every choice, that your peace is worth more than the discomfort of others. Saying no is a portal, and by crossing it, you begin to live a life where you are finally allowed to exist as you are. The discomfort of changing is better than the pain of staying. Change hurts. It's uncomfortable, requires courage, and causes turbulence. But what about staying where you are, being who you're not? That hurts much more. The difference is that the pain of change liberates, and the pain of stagnation imprisons. Most people aren't unhappy because they want to be, but because they're afraid of what comes after the leap, because they think the pain of the unknown will be greater than the pain of what's already unbearable. But here's the truth. Nothing worsens pain more than postponing it. When you put off change, you only increase frustration. And what started as discomfort turns into chronic depression, chronic anguish, and a feeling of emptiness. You don't need a complete map to get started. You need a decision. And each step, however shaky, clarifies the next path. It takes courage to leave a job that doesn't fulfill you, courage to end a relationship that drains you, courage to break habits that destroy you from within. But if you keep holding on to what hurts you just because you're afraid to start over, you'll never live the life you truly deserve. Sometimes prison is comfortable, but it's still prison. You have to understand, the discomfort of change is temporary. Transformation is permanent. There is no freedom without going through the chaos of reinvention. It's like being born again, but it requires pain, but brings life. And yes, you will lose things in the process, but whatever goes away will be making room for what is real, healthy, and true. Starting today, embrace this discomfort as a sign that you are alive, moving towards your truth. It's better to feel fearful about changing than to feel regretful about standing still. Your freedom is just around the corner, after the first step you've been avoiding for years.
You don't need permission to exist. What are you waiting for? For someone to tell you that now you can be who you are? That now you're allowed to be happy? That now you have the right to prioritize yourself? It won't happen. The permission you seek will never come from outside. It arises when you stop asking for it, when you understand that your worth doesn't need outside validation, when you decide that existing fully is an act of courage, not an affront. We live surrounded by expectations. Be this way, speak this way, live this way. And little by little, you mold yourself so much to what others want that you forget who you are. But there comes a time when the pain of hiding overcomes the fear of revealing yourself. And in that moment, something awakens, a burning desire to break free, to stop tiptoeing around to fit into other people's worlds. You're not weird, intense, or too much. You're just surrounded by the wrong people. Because when you allow yourself to be whole, you begin to attract those who recognize your light. And yes, this will scare those who have grown accustomed to the dormant version of you. But that's okay. You weren't made to be accepted by everyone. You were made to be true to yourself. Your authenticity is your greatest gift, and it doesn't need to be explained, softened, or hidden. If someone only accepts you when you're more relaxed, less emotional, more comfortable, then that person isn't accepting you. They're accepting a fantasy.
And living like that is a condemnation, a life without color, without shine, without soul. Today, you will make a choice. Stop asking permission to exist. You are not a favor in the world. You are a necessary presence. And the more you embrace yourself, the more your freedom becomes non-negotiable. Live your truth, even if it scares you. Because only then will you discover what it means to truly live, without constraints, without masks, without fear. You are the leader you've been waiting for. You've spent your entire life waiting for someone to save you. A boss who sees your potential. A partner who supports you. An ideal situation. But what no one told you is that no one will come. And this, rather than being a source of pain, can be your greatest liberation. Because the day you stop waiting, you'll discover what's always been there. You. It's you who needs to stand up. You who needs to decide that you've had enough, that you're done waiting for rescue, that you no longer need an audience, permission, or promises. You are the leader of your story. And when you stop waiting for others to do it, you start creating what you desire. The world doesn't change to free you. It changes when you free yourself from within. You don't need more advice nor more certainty. You need action, because freedom only begins when you take responsibility. From the moment you say, "I am enough. I stand up for myself. I choose to live my way," everything changes. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. And the world responds to your determination. Don't wait for life to be fair. Wait for someone to come and help you win. The Stoics said, "What you control is your mind, your actions, your focus. The rest is noise." And you've already wasted too much time listening to that noise. Now it's your turn. Your strength comes when you embrace the protagonist and let go of the victim role.
What imprisons you today is the story you haven't changed yet. The strongest prison there is the narrative you silently repeat. That old story, "I'm not good enough. I've always been this way. It'll never work." This voice doesn't come from the present. It comes from past wounds you've never rethought. They're old words from harsh parents, cynical teachers, abusive relationships. And as long as you keep believing them, you'll continue to act as if they were true. But here's the key. You can change history. You can choose to retell your life with new words, new meanings, a new vision. You don't have to erase the past. You have to rewrite how it defines who you are today. What hurt you shaped you, but it doesn't have to control you anymore. You're no longer that voiceless child. You have a choice now. Start by changing the way you describe yourself. Stop saying you're messy, insecure, unfocused. That's programming, not identity. You've learned to see yourself this way because you've heard it for too long. But nothing stops you from repeating a new truth. I'm under construction. I'm improving. I'm redeeming myself. Repetition creates reality. You only remain trapped in what you don't have the courage to look at honestly. And yes, it will hurt at first. Tackling wounds takes courage. But this pain is the pain of healing, because when you name what holds you back, you begin to dissolve its power over you. Clarity is the beginning of freedom. Your story isn't written in stone. It's a living book, and the pen is in your hand. If today's chapter is heavy, turn the page. Rewrite your narrative.
because no one is forced to remain what they were when they have the courage to become who they choose to be.
The door to your new life is in the heart of the pain you avoid. You're seeking freedom, lightness, inner peace, but at the same time, you avoid facing what hurts you. And here's the paradox. What you desire most is hidden in the very place you avoid it most. The pain you don't want to face is the portal. The fear you deny is the test. The shadow you hide is the key. And as long as you run from it, you'll continue to live half-heartedly. It's in this avoided pain that your next level lies. There is no growth without confrontation, and there is no freedom without exposure. Do you want to heal? Then start by asking, what haven't I had the courage to face yet? Because the real leap happens when you stop running and decide to move through. The pain won't magically disappear, but when you walk toward it with presence, it loses its hold on you. Think about the moments when you grew the most. Did they come from your comfort zone? Did they come from stability and certainty? No, they came from crisis, from decline, from collapse. They were the moments when everything fell apart and you were forced to build something new. That's why pain can be the womb of your transformation, not to punish you, but to awaken you. Pain comes when the soul cries out for change. And here's the last key. No one goes through the pain for you. Others may support you, but the step is yours. The confrontation is yours. The healing is yours. And when you cross over, something changes forever. You reconcile with yourself. You understand that you are no longer trapped, and the feeling of freedom comes not because everything has improved, but because you have become greater than the fear that held you back. It's time to stop running. The door to your new life is right there, in the center of what scares you most. To cross is to choose yourself, and on the other side, there is a version of you that is waiting for you. Whole, authentic, at peace, on fire, alive.
You are not here to be less. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you is tired of living in silence, tired of pretending everything is okay when inside you're screaming, "No more." Smiling while you're silently falling apart, no more diminishing yourself to be accepted. You're not here to please. You're here to live with courage, truth, and presence. Your freedom begins when you say, "Today, I choose to stop putting myself down." And yes, it will hurt. It will feel strange at first. It will distance you from some people. But it will also bring you closer to who you truly are. And there is no greater victory than that, finding yourself again. Because when you find yourself, you never lose yourself to anyone again. Your life changes when you stop waiting for the right moment, the right approval, the ideal conditions. Life happens when you act, even when you're afraid, even when you're in doubt, even when you don't know what you'll find on the other side. Because that's where your strength lies. That's where your revolution lies. That's where your freedom lies. You've hurt yourself enough trying to fit in. It's hurt enough carrying the weight of other people's expectations. Now it's your turn. Now it's your moment. Now it's time to say enough. I choose myself, and screw the rest. Because when you prioritize yourself, you don't lose anyone. You just stop losing yourself. Write in the comments now, "My freedom begins today." This phrase isn't just a phrase, it's a pact, a seal with the version of you that is being reborn now. If this touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs this awakening. And remember, you are not alone. You are finding yourself. And this is just the beginning.